Good afternoon, everyone. It's 4:15. I've just come back from the post office, Ballyfarnan, where I've posted off some books. Thank you to all of those who support Bealtaine Cottage through the purchase of a book. It's very good of you to do so, and I hope you enjoy reading what I write. Now, I got a little email through from Raven Steals the Night, who won the competition for the book. That was the competition to pick out the painting at Cara's art exhibition that I chose. And Raven Steals the Night, Lorraine is her name, has said, I already have your book and thank you so much, Colette, and please choose another winner. So I've literally just gone on to the YouTube video, Cara's video of the art exhibition, and the first one down is The Scented Path. So The Scented Path has said, if painting number 8 is the one you choose to buy, ? I wonder. So The Scented Path, could you please email me with your full name and full address, and I will send you on a copy of A Cottage in 3 Acres. So it's a beautiful day because the temperature has gone up, and of course that's just a wonderful thing here in the west of Ireland. I think someone's listening. Yes, darling, you're listening. So I'm going to just take you out for a little ramble because I did a wee live stream this morning on Facebook, and I was just showing everyone what I did last night. I was clearing up around the stone circle, and I was clearing all the growth, and on the previous video I made I showed you an example of how everything's grown, because I showed you a path which had only taken you up a couple of weeks previously and it was completely overgrown. So I've been out there well into the dark last night clearing, just doing the chop and drop. The chop and drop at this time of year is perfect, and especially if you're dropping onto what are paths, because you're sort of replacing the work of Mother Nature. You're chopping and dropping, and you're helping to build up the paths, and you're also helping to stem the flow of grass growth. So I have this camera on a slightly different setting as well for recording the video, so fingers crossed it'll all come out okay. Now, I'm sure there was something else. Oh yes, I got this through the other day, and I just want to say thank you so much. Isn't that beautiful? This is made by, very hard to read the writing here, but it's from Josie Irvin. And Josie, if you want to leave a comment underneath this video and write out who actually made this. I know it has something to do with the what was it called? The protests against the pipeline protests in America. Anyway, so the next posting date is Monday. So any of you want to order a book or a map, I'm just going to show you what I have here. It's not very often that I actually do this, So that's the Cottage and 3 Acres book. And this book, by the way, has got, in the middle, it's got 70, I think 71 photographs in the middle of it. So that details my journey here at Bealtaine Cottage from the very beginning. Then there's In Search for the Goddess Rising. And there's also the little midwinter book. That's full colour, by the way. Okay. It's a little midwinter book. And then there's also the map. Let me show you the map. You know something? I've actually got 2 calendars left. 2 calendars left. So I'm quite pleased that these calendars have sold all the way through the year. I'll just show you the map. The map is printed on card and it is printed on both sides. Let me just open it up. It comes folded. Quite a few people buy 2 of these because they want to frame them, because the artwork is that beautiful. Okay. And then that's the other side. And also they're brilliant for colouring in. So they do make beautiful gifts for colouring in. Alright, so that's my little bit of housekeeping, I suppose they call it. Come on, Jack, you're coming out. So it's actually quite balmy now. It's warmer outdoors than what it is indoors. So that shows you just how the temperatures have gone up. And I'll just sit here for a little moment because then you can see my new look veranda. It's positively cleared up. As you can see, I've swept it and cleaned it and did a fair bit of judicious pruning. I've got a little bit more to clear up just there. There's a wee pile I've got to take over to the compost. I'll be making lots more compost piles, I think, in the garden over the course of the autumn. And of course everything's grown so well. Now I'm just seeing a butterfly there on the buddleia. This buddleia down here at the bottom of the veranda has continued. Oh, look, there's quite a lot of butterflies. Ah, look at this. You can just see them flitting about. So I can see 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 1, 2. That looks like a red admiral or something, doesn't it? And little insects as well. And that's another one. And there's another one. Isn't that amazing? That. They're flitting all over the place. So there's no shortage of butterflies here. No shortage of anything really. It's all very abundant. Right, I'll take you up towards the stone circle. I'm just sorry for lingering here, because I'm looking at the lens, but I'm also looking to see what's around me. So I can see some of the sweet williams coming up there. Lots of bees. Very magical, isn't it? Very magical. Here's one of my little goddesses, look. There we go. Just hanging up there. And then these are all gifts from you. You, my beloved subscribers, those who support Bealtaine Cottage in whatever way you choose. Just tuning into the channel is support. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? So this is a wonderful plant because the nasturtiums come up every year of their own volition because they're dropping seeds again of their own volition. See, look, here's some of the seeds here. Look, see? And those seeds are dropped. See those seeds in there? And they go into the earth. There's a lovely seed there. They come in little triples. So it's a bit like a triple goddess, which is very much the Celtic thing, you know, the triple goddess. So there's the 3. And throw them down there. And they will come up each year. You don't need to ever buy another nasturtium. They self-seed, as they say. So, we'll start our little walk. I've cleared quite a lot of this. I've done the chop and drop. I'm still working on it because I'm just clearing along the stone border here. But you can see just the strengths of the growth. I mean, anyone who comes to Bealtaine Cottage online who isn't filled with optimism for our future is not seeing and not hearing the health. Now, I know there's a lot of talk on social media about creating ark, creating an ark. So you create an ark for nature, and I applaud that. But this is a very fine example of a living ark for nature, because you step outside of these 3 acres onto neighbouring fields, and the abundance has stopped at the fence. But when I speak about optimism for our futures, Bealtaine Cottage is only 15 years old. And if you want to see what it was like at the very beginning, go onto the website bealtainecottage.com. There's a link below this video, and have a look at the very top of the page where you'll see a little menu, and you'll see before and after pictures. So if you see something that's marked transformation, that will have before and after pictures. And there's a few other pages on the menu that also have before and after pictures. So this is what can be achieved in 15 years. And it's important for me to stress this to you, because there are more and more people, subscribers, coming to this YouTube site. This is an oak tree. Look at this incredible oak tree. This oak tree is about, I think it's about 12 or 13 years old. Look at the size of it. And it's growing on very thin soil. And underneath this soil is lots and lots of rock. But oak trees have very strong roots, and they're able to push their roots down through the rock. And the rocks can be filled with as much fertility as the soil. And so look at this strong, amazingly strong. And look at the reach of its branches. Look, I mean, this oak tree is going to take over this entire area, and a lot of what's underneath it will eventually die back because it needs to spread. Look at the spread. Just go right back down along this branch. Look. You see? Magical. Just magical. Is it little wonder that the oak tree was perhaps the most revered tree in all of Celtic mythology? And I know there's a lot of talk about Druids, but the ancient peoples of Ireland knew what it was like to live within the magic of nature. And you didn't have to be a Druid to appreciate that. And you didn't have to be a Druid to acknowledge that and work with it. So we'll go on up to the stone circle. There's a beautiful light this afternoon. It's just so mellow. I just love this time of year. Look, the ditch has dried out very quickly. You see, it carries away the excess water. So when there's a huge amount of rain, you know, when there is a heavy downpour, it will just direct the excess, and for the rest of the time it's dry. So here we go, up on this little path towards the stone circle, and you can see where I've been cutting back the hedge, and this is a very easy hedge. It's just little bits put straight into the ground. Which is how I plant most of my shrubs. There's a sort of a mist about. It's just about it's perceptible to me, but only just. I think it must be the heat. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So I've done the chop and drop very much inside the stone circle, and all that will die down beautifully and act as like a grass suppressant. And here's a little oak tree which I planted in the stone circle in the middle, and you can see now I have trimmed back and done a thorough tidy up of the little willow arches, and that helps to strengthen them, you see. It actually helps to strengthen the arches themselves, because you're allowing all the strengths, rather than going into new growth on the top, to go into the actual stems. So there we go. And then I cleared this path as well. And again, these are little bits of shrub that I just put straight into the ground. This is actually called spirea. The spirea has a lovely pink flower on it. It'll take a few weeks for these cuttings, these chop and drop cuttings, to biodegrade and look a little bit neater than what they are now. But that happens over the course of a little bit of time. And there's some of the pink flowers in the spirea. And you see how high this grows. So I'll be cutting this down to about waist height. So there's a lot of biomass here to work with. And I'm going to be working through the Lunacy garden now from this point. I've made a little bit of an inroad into it. And then this is the back of the tunnel. I normally approach the tunnel from the other side, but you can see now this wonderful array of grapes and magnificent harvest. And if you look at the grapevine there, you can see lots more on the other side of the grapevine. So it's quite a fantastic harvest. Look at this. I haven't been in here pruning back the vine, which I sometimes do. Depends really. But you'd normally go through and you take off, the about a third of the grapes, I suppose, to get big, heavy bunches. But I've been so busy this summer and other things, and I haven't even watered it, and yet still there's this beautiful harvest. So this is my little, remember I described this as my little kind of woodland, my little woodland garden here in the tunnel. And then walking on down, we come into the tunnel proper. And again, it's been so much has grown here, and on very little water, because there was quite a long stretch of time during the summer when there just wasn't any water. Now look at this beautiful little web here. Can you see it? And that's the skull of the little fox that came to die at Bealtaine. So beautiful. So we'll just carry on through. So I must get into the tunnel later on today and do some well needed watering. You can see there's a fair bit building up in that compost heap, and also quite a bit on that one. And then at some point over the course of Lunacy, I'll get in here and I'll harvest all these nettles and put those on the compost heap as well. And this path here is closed up, but I don't really need to use that path for a few months anyway, so I'll just leave that. I work on what I think is most important to do. Little hoverfly. They're incredible creatures. And look at this. Got lots of wild oregano. And yes, that does make beautiful tea. Someone left a comment the other day that it makes wonderful tea. Indeed it does. And look at all this wild oregano. So I'll be cutting some of that and bunching it and hanging it up to dry. Because that makes beautiful tea for the winter. And also if you have a sore throat, you can gargle with that. You can gargle with the warm tea or even the cold tea, whatever you have to hand. And there's a few apples on the street. It's not too bad considering it wasn't pruned. So this winter I really do have a massive amount of pruning to do, but all in good time. But I think of all these things as I walk through the paths, you know. A little bit of wood there. And lots of periwinkle there. Lots of berries on the cotoneaster. And I think it was yesterday or the day before I showed you the hazelnuts on this hazel tree, but of course there's lots more. So I'm going to walk to the end of this path and then come back and take you down into the fairy wood just for a minute or two. This is one of my little secret gardens in here. Actually, I won't need to go back. I'll go down the steps and take you in through the fairy wood from this side. I had a friend of mine visit me. Oh, I hadn't seen her in a few years. And she came to visit me the other day. And we were talking, and we were also walking the land here. Just coming down these steps. And she's actually a practicing Wiccan. A very interesting lady, because her primary sort of passion is herbs. So she was very interested to see all the various herbs that I grow here and that grow here on their own. She was very interested in that, and she also wanted to have a good walk through the neighbouring field to get an idea of what it all looked like before. And she also did a bit of a herb count on the neighbouring field. And so then following that, then there was a very extensive, almost like a survey. You know, she's a very intelligent woman, university educated, and she's actually doing, she did her master's, she's doing a doctorate now at the moment. So Isabella, if you're watching, hi. But she was fascinated with the number of herbs that have come up here without me introducing them. And so she kept describing the land. You know, she said it was very alive. Of course, all these things I know, all these things you know, and especially if you've been tuning into Bealtaine Cottage regularly. And I've been making videos, I think, since 2010. Certainly writing on the website since about 2010 as well. So anyway, her final parting shot to me, she always leaves me with things to think about, though it's normally me going to